Amara walked into the compound at dusk, carrying her pot of lemon stew close to her chest. She had even practiced a small laugh in the mirror before coming, hoping it would help her fit in. The family table stretched under the lanterns, loud with voices and clinking plates. She tried to slip into the empty space beside her husband, but before she could sit, Mama Jalia spoke without even lifting her eyes. "Don't sit here, you don't belong." The whole table fell silent. A fork hit a plate. Someone whispered a soft awe. Amara felt her laugh rise and break in her throat. She covered it with a cough, her face burning. The pot felt heavier in her hands now. Barak tried to defend her, but Mama Jalia shut him down with one sharp look. Amara stepped away from the table, each step slow, heavy, painful. She walked to the far corner and gently placed the pot on the ground. Tears pressed behind her eyes, hot and stubborn, but she refused to let them fall. She forced out a tiny, shaky laugh, hoping it would keep the sadness from spilling over. It didn't. She stood there, breathing hard, looking back at the long table where everyone else sat comfortably, laughing again as if nothing had happened. That table had pushed her out again. And yet in the middle of her hurt, something small and steady rose inside her chest. One day, she told herself silently, this moment won't break me. One day, this won't hurt the way it does now. Days slowly turn into weeks, and the pain that Amara felt that first night starts to follow her everywhere like a shadow she can't shake off. It becomes normal now, this quiet way the family pushes her aside. At birthdays, someone gently pulls a chair away from the main table and places it near the hand-washing station, pretending it's for extra space. At funerals, she finds herself sitting outside with the little children, even though she arrived early enough to sit with the adults. At Sunday dinners in Kiwanya village, she walks toward the table only to see people shifting around, making it look like there's simply no space for her. Each time she sits, someone adjusts their body away from her. Each time she speaks, someone clears their throat or rolls their eyes like her voice is something they have to endure. She tries to hide the hurt. At home, she gives small fake laughs, little ha-ha sounds that feel thin and weak, hoping Barak won't notice how shaky they are. But he does. And when she goes into the bedroom at night, when the door is closed and the house is quiet, she lets herself cry in slow, heavy tears that soak into her pillow. She wipes her face again and again, but the sadness keeps coming. Barak sometimes tries to hold her, telling her, "Ignore them." But ignoring them feels impossible. It feels like trying to swallow stones. Even outside the home, the whispers follow her. In Macondo Market, women notice everything. They talk in small groups behind baskets of tomatoes and piles of cassava. One woman clicks her tongue in pity when Amara walks by. Another says it's not her fault she tries. Someone else, bolder, says with a grin, one day she'll sit where she wants, watch and see. Their voices mix with the busy sounds of the market. Amara hears every word, even when she pretends she doesn't. She gives them a polite smile, the kind that doesn't reach her eyes, and a soft laugh that sounds almost tired. But those words whisper something new to her. Maybe she will sit where she wants one day. Maybe she doesn't always have to accept the seat they force on her. Maybe she can choose her own place. The thought is small at first, almost like a seed pressed deep into the soil. But even seeds grow. Even tiny things can push through the dirt if they're strong enough. At night, when she lies awake listening to the distant hum of motorbikes and the soft breathing of Barak beside her, she thinks about those words again. She remembers how people shift away from her, how they look at her like she is less. The pain still stings, but something else begins to stir under it. Something like hope. Something that feels warm and steady. Something that tells her she is allowed to want more. Maybe one day, she thinks slowly, she will not just sit where she wants. Maybe one day, she will stand somewhere no one can push her from. One Sunday after service, Amara was leaving the church when a small flyer on the notice board caught her eye. It was simple, a bit faded, nothing fancy. It said, "Leadership Training Community Development Program." She almost laughed out loud. Her, a leader. She could barely find a seat at her own family table. But something soft and stubborn inside her made her pull the flyer down and fold it into her bag. At home that night, she sat on the bed and opened it again. Her fingers trembled as she read each line. She imagined herself helping people, doing something useful, something bigger than the hurt she carried. A tear dropped onto the paper, smudging one word. She wiped her cheeks, surprised at how badly she suddenly wanted this. She applied with a racing heart, convinced they would reject her. But the message came, "You have been accepted." She read it 3 times to believe it. On the first day at Nuru Center, she walked in slowly and sat at the back of the room, her shoulders tight, ready for someone to push her out or tell her she was in the wrong place. But instead, the trainer looked at her with a warm smile, the kind that made it feel like she had been expected. "Welcome," he said. Such a simple word, but it shook something loose in her chest. During introductions, she made a small nervous joke. She thought it was silly, but the whole room laughed with her, not at her. Real laughter, warm laughter. For the first time in a long while, her own laugh came out without force. It surprised her. It felt light, free, like something she had forgotten she could feel. When it was her turn to share why she joined, she spoke about the water problems in Rwanda, about the children who walked far for clean water, about wanting to help even if she didn't know how yet. The room murmured softly, little awe sounds of support and encouragement. No one rolled their eyes. No one shifted away from her. No one made her feel small. She felt her back straighten on its own. She felt her voice steady. She felt something inside her slowly rising, something strong. It was like discovering a part of herself she didn't know was waiting. Each session after that made her feel braver. She wrote notes carefully, asked questions, and even stayed after class to talk to the trainers. People began smiling at her in the hallways. Some asked for her opinion. Others thanked her for her ideas. She wasn't invisible here. She wasn't unwanted. Every day she walked home with a tiny fire burning inside her. It started as a spark the day she picked up that flyer. But now, with every lesson she learned and every kind voice in that classroom, the spark grew brighter and hotter. It warmed places inside her that had been cold for months, and soon it became something powerful, something alive, a flame that refused to go out. Weeks slowly turn into months, and Amara's life begins to change in ways no one expected. The lessons from Nuru Center fill her with ideas, and she starts taking small steps that grow into something bigger. She begins with a simple cleanup drive in Lumo Block, expecting maybe 5 people to show up. But children run out of their homes to help, holding brooms taller than their bodies. Neighbors peek from their doors, then join in. Soon the dusty paths become clear, and people clap for her like she did something grand. That day, something shifts. She realizes she can make real change, even with small actions. Next, she organizes a water filter distribution, moving from house to house with her list. Elders hold her hands, press her cheeks gently, and tell her, "Bless you, child." Children cling to her skirt, refusing to let go. The same market women who once watched her with pity now greet her loudly, calling her "our girl," proud and protective. Their voices lift her spirit in ways she never expected. And through it all, Amara laughs more than she has in years. Not the tiny forced laughs she used to make to hide her pain, but big, deep laughs that come from joy. Sometimes she surprises herself with how loud she sounds. Some nights, though, she cries too. Not from hurt, but from feeling overwhelmed by how many people believe in her. She writes notes in her project book with tears dropping between the lines because she can't believe this is her life now. Barak watches everything with quiet wonder. He sees the way people greet her, the way her smile glows brighter, the way she walks a little taller. Sometimes, when she thinks he isn't listening, he whispers, "I'm so proud of you." He says it softly, like he's scared he might disturb something delicate or chase away the magic growing around her. Slowly, photos of her work start spreading online. Someone posts a picture of her kneeling beside a new water tank, her smile wide and sunlit. Another person records a video of children running around her, chanting her name with laughter. People share the posts again and again. Strangers message her, asking for help, advice, ideas. Her phone rings more often now, with leaders from other villages wanting her to visit. And the girl who was once pushed away from a family table, the girl told she didn't belong, becomes someone people search for, someone they trust, someone they wait for. She doesn't realize it at first, but the community does. The tables she was excluded from no longer define her. Her value grows far beyond that. She becomes the woman people look for when they need hope, when they need direction, when they need someone who will show up and care. The woman no one expected becomes the woman everyone depends on. Back at the family compound, something starts to shift, though no one says it out loud at first. The long table that once felt too crowded for Amara suddenly feels strange without her. At a wedding celebration, while music plays and people dance, someone looks around and whispers, "Where's Amara?" She usually handles the serving. The bowls look unorganized without her touch, and even the guests seem a bit lost. At a funeral gathering, when people sit in slow, heavy silence, an uncle shakes his head and says, "She's good at comforting people. Shame she's not here today." His voice carries a hint of disappointment that makes a few others nod quietly. At Sunday lunch, the children are the loudest about it. Halfway through their meal, they look around with confused eyes and ask, "Is Auntie Amara not coming?" They miss her small jokes, the way she sneaks them extra chapati, the way she sits on the ground to hear their stories. Their innocent questions make the adults uncomfortable, and Mama Jalia snaps, "Eat your food," a little too sharply. The children fall silent, but the question hangs in the air. Every time someone mentions Amara, Mama Jalia's shoulders stiffen. She brushes away the comments with short, cold replies, pretending she doesn't care. But her face tells another story. When neighbors praise Amara's work, or when someone says they saw her helping at a community event, Mama Jalia's eyes soften for a moment before she quickly looks away. It's a tiny change, but it's there, a quiet crack in her hard shell. One afternoon, a cousin rushes to her with a phone. "Auntie, look," they say, breathless. On the screen is Amara standing in front of students at a school in Kitalo. She speaks with calm confidence, her hands moving gently as she explains something. Behind her, children clap and chant her name. The crowd looks at her like she's someone important, someone respected, someone loved. Mama Jalia holds the phone for a long second. Her breath catches in her throat, just a small hitch, but she quickly hides it with a scoff. "People clap for anything these days," she says, but her fingers tremble as she hands back the phone. Her eyes linger a little too long on the fading screen. Something begins to turn inside her, slow and heavy. It's a strange feeling, a mix of pride she doesn't want to admit and guilt she doesn't want to face. The same woman who once looked Amara in the eye and said, "You don't belong here," now finds herself staring at the empty chair at the family table. And for the first time, she wonders if she was wrong. She wonders who truly belongs at that table, and who they are missing every time that seat stays empty. The cholera scare begins early in the morning, spreading through the neighborhood faster than the wind. One child falls sick, then another. People start shouting from house to house. Mothers run around with buckets, fathers argue about which water source is safe, and elders sit on stools shaking their heads in fear. The entire compound turns into noise and panic. Children cry loudly, clinging to their parents. Pots boil on every stove as people try to treat water, but no one is sure what to do. Fear fills the air like smoke. In the middle of this chaos, someone finally says the words everyone has been thinking. "Call Amara." The voice is small but clear. A sudden quiet falls over the compound. Everyone turns to look at Mama Jalia. Her face tightens. Her back stiffens. She doesn't speak, but her silence weighs heavy. Barak, for the first time in a long time, stands tall and firm. "Call her," he says. "She's the one who can help." His voice doesn't shake. That alone surprises the family. Minutes later, Amara walks through the gate with a team of volunteers behind her. She carries boxes of water tablets, emergency kits, gloves, and clean jerry cans. Her face is calm, steady, focused. The moment she steps inside, the panic shifts. People gather around her like she's light in a dark room. Children reach for her. Elders stand up straighter. She starts giving clear, simple instructions. Boil this. Disinfect that. Don't use that well. Wash hands here. She kneels beside a crying child and wipes their tears gently. She helps an old woman clean her water tank. She explains treatment options with patience, making sure even the most confused person understands what to do. Her volunteers move quickly, following her lead. The compound slowly becomes organized. The shouting reduces. The crying softens. People breathe easier. Even the small children stop sobbing and cling to her clothes instead, trusting her completely. From the doorway, Mama Jalia watches everything with her arms crossed tightly over her chest. She tries to look stern, but her eyes are wet. She sees Amara moving from one person to another, calming people with soft laughter, touching shoulders gently, wiping tears, giving strength where fear once lived. And something deep inside Mama Jalia twists painfully. She remembers the night she told Amara she didn't belong. She remembers the empty chair. She remembers ignoring the whispers of praise. And now, watching Amara hold the entire family together, she feels something break open inside her. This woman she pushed away is the only one who knows exactly what to do, the one everyone turns to, the one the children trust, the one saving them. In that moment, Mama Jalia understands something she never saw before. The table at home never needed to be perfect. It didn't need rules or pride. It didn't need her sharp tongue or strict traditions. It needed someone strong, someone gentle, someone steady enough to guide them through storms. It needed Amara. Days pass and the cholera scare finally slows down. People begin to breathe again. Children play outside, elders sit in the shade, and the compound feels alive instead of frightened. To thank everyone who helped, the family decides to host a big Thanksgiving dinner. Pots clatter, smoke rises from the outdoor kitchen, and people carry chairs back and forth. The long table is brought out again, wiped clean and decorated with simple flowers. But this time, there is a different kind of excitement in the air, a quiet hope that no one says out loud. For the first time in a long time, Mama Jalia does not send a child or a neighbor to call Amara. She sends for her directly. Her voice is firm, but her heart beats fast. When the message reaches Amara, she freezes for a moment, wondering if she heard correctly. Still, she walks toward the compound, unsure of what to expect. When she enters the courtyard, the noise slowly fades. People turn and look at her. The children stop playing. Even the cooking spoons pause midair. Amara stands at the edge, her breath caught in her chest. She doesn't know whether to smile or step back. Her hands shake a little, and her heart feels heavy with memories of every time she was pushed away. Then Mama Jalia steps forward. Her eyes shimmer like she's been holding tears for too long. Her voice is softer than anyone has heard in years. Amara, she says, almost like she's afraid the word might break, sit here. She points to the seat at the head of the table. Her own seat, the seat she never let anyone else touch. A wave of shock moves through the courtyard. People gasp. Someone whispers a soft awe. A cousin gives a tiny laugh, surprised and confused. Barak's eyes widen, full of pride he can't hide. And Amara, she can't hold back. Tears slip down her face the moment she understands what is happening. Warm tears, heavy tears, years of hurt melting down her cheeks. She tries to wipe them quickly, embarrassed, but she ends up laughing through the tears. A shaky, broken laugh, but full of relief, full of meaning. She steps forward slowly, almost afraid this moment will disappear if she moves too fast. When she finally sits in the chair, her hands tremble as they rest on the table. People around her sit too, but they look at her with something new in their eyes. Respect, gratitude, admiration. Some even look at her with pride, like they always knew she would end up here. The lantern light glows softly over the table, and Amara feels something she has never felt here before. She does not feel judged. She does not feel tested. She does not feel like she has to earn her place. For the first time, the table doesn't feel like a battlefield. It feels like a circle, a place where she finally belongs. Months pass, and Amara's world grows even bigger. One bright afternoon in Kasuka Hall, she stands on a small stage, opening a district-wide health outreach program. The room is full. Leaders clap proudly, children run up to hug her knees, and elders reach out with soft, trembling hands to bless her. Everywhere she turns, someone is thanking her. Cameras flash, people cheer, and her name echoes again and again. In the front row sits Mama Jalia, wrapped in her best chitinge, sitting straighter than ever before. Her eyes shine with a pride she no longer tries to hide. She watches Amara with a full heart, taking in every word, every smile, every moment. During the closing speech, a speaker steps forward and says loudly, "Let's thank the woman who saved our community." The hall erupts in applause, and before anyone else stands, Mama Jalia rises to her feet. Her hands clap first, strongest, loudest. Her voice shakes as she leans to the person beside her and whispers, "That's my daughter." On stage, Amara hears it. She freezes for a second, the words melting straight into her heart. Her breath catches, her eyes fill, and she lets out a small, choked laugh that turns into a tearful smile. She wipes her cheeks quickly, but the tears keep coming. When the event ends, she steps down from the stage and Mama Jalia walks straight to her. No hesitation, no pride holding her back. She wraps Amara in a long, tight embrace, holding her as if trying to make up for every moment she ever made her feel small. Later, Amara sits at another long table, surrounded by people who look to her for guidance, comfort, and hope. The girl once told she didn't belong is now the woman the whole community depends on.